Hello and welcome to the Free Kick Podcast, the quarantine edition. My name is Todd, and I'll be the host for you guys today. Like I told you guys on social media, this is going to be an 8-week tournament, single elimination match, where Union fans go head-to-head against each other and answer a whole bunch of trivia questions. Now, this is episode number 2. Technically, it's episode number 1. Last episode, it was supposed to be Justin Panner versus Michael Van Saint. Unfortunately, Justin had to forfeit that game, which meant Michael advances to the next round, which also leads me to another point. A lot of people on social media, a lot of people participating and people that are going to be listening were confused by the rankings. So they saw the 1 seed versus 16. That stuff doesn't matter. So once we get through the round of 16 and everything, then I'll do a redrawing again, and then we'll see who pairs up against each other. But without me talking anymore, let me introduce you to today's guest. We have 2 new people to the podcast. I'd like to welcome on Ken Mack and Scott to the podcast. How are you guys doing?
Good. This is great.
Yeah, doing great. Excited to definitely choke.
I paired up this first round loss with a lovely Bordeaux to get through the call.
Ken and I were talking before you joined Scott, and we were like, man, you were just giving like crazy questions on Twitter and everything, and like I was stumped, Ken was stumped, and a lot of other people seemed stumped. So if you were the host, I don't think anybody would be getting points. So luckily for all the contestants, these questions should be a little bit easier than what Scott was giving everybody on Twitter.
Good.
But let's start with, I'll start with you first, Ken. How did you get into the Union?
Sure. So I'm out in Lancaster, PA now. I grew up in South Jersey, was a soccer fan before the Union existed. I guess I liked DC United because I was a goalie, and I thought Troy Perkins was amazing. But, then the Union started. So I followed them, went out to college, fell away, but been back more in the couple years. So be a bit rusty on like the 2011 Union, but, hopefully don't get too many of those questions.
We will see. We will definitely see. What about you, Scott?
I was a fan from the time they were announced at the end of 2009. I had been looking for a team to root for, and I just couldn't make the jump to like root for either DC or Red Bull back then, or the Metro Stars, even before that. So when they finally were announced, I kind of jumped in with both feet and had season tickets for a number of years.
Last night, which would have been Wednesday. Yeah, the call happened on Tuesday. I was with a whole bunch of Union fans. We were just talking and everything. Heather, who's on the board for the Sons of Ben, she organized this Zoom meeting, and there's about 10 of us Union fans on there, and we were just all talking and everything. And I told the guys, I was like, yeah, it is 100% my fault that the season is postponed because I started this podcast at the end of 2019, and then my sister and I became season ticket members for this season, and so just all this stuff happened way too fast, I feel like, and now this season got canceled all because of me.
Oh, that I appreciate the mea culpa on that, but I don't think we can pin all of this on you. Maybe like the first opening loss. Maybe that's just your fault. But
speaking of the Dallas loss, I did have the Union getting a draw in that game, and yeah, they did not even look like they were going to get a draw that game. They got the Sox beat off of them, but that LAFC game, I mean, that's a game I feel like everybody was expecting them to lose, and then Jacob Glesnes scores that wonderful free kick, and if the season doesn't even continue, that's going to hurt him so much, I feel like, just taking that once-in-a-lifetime goal away and everything. So hopefully for our sake that they can at least get half the season in, and I know there's been talks that the teams would just play the Eastern Conference teams and then the Western Conference teams would just play the Western Conference teams. But do you guys think that the season will eventually kick off?
I mean, I hope so. I finally got season tickets last year, so it'd be a shame to not be able to use them after just spending entirely too much money going to the equivalent of having season tickets.
Yeah, I mean, and you said you're coming from Lancaster, so that's quite a far trip and everything, an hour 20, an hour 30, and I'm just an hour away from the stadium and everything, so just hop on 95 and everything. I'm like, my drive's not too bad, but, that's a good point you bring up just with people. One season tickets, they're not terribly priced when you compare them to NBA or the NFL or even baseball and stuff. But, when you spend that money and everything, you're coming from far away and everything, you're like, come on, I paid for a full season ticket membership and I just want to see every single game. So hopefully, if half the season gets taken out, the union and MLS will do the right thing and refund us half the money back and everything. But what about you, Scott? Do you think we'll eventually get MLS season?
Yeah, I think we'll get a shortened season. And there's probably like a break-even point where they think it's worthwhile, and you have to think that they're already kind of doing the math on that. That like is a 20-game season enough? Because I think if you think about the quarantine and the stay at home, it's hitting us here on the East Coast now, but it's starting to ripple through the South and the Midwest. And if you keep kind of like tacking on the 2 weeks and the 2 weeks after that, they're a couple of months away from like this going through the whole country. So it's start of April now. At the very earliest, the most the most optimistic estimate would be the middle of June, if they gave them another week or two to kind of get in shape again. So maybe they can get another 17. Maybe they can get 20 games in. Is that enough? And with a shortened playoff system, is that enough to award a cup that wouldn't have an asterisk? But by the middle of July, I think you probably have to call it if they can't get on the field by then.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I see a lot of fans on Twitter saying, oh, well, they can play in December. They can play in January. Like, have you guys not seen how the winters get around Pennsylvania, how they get in New England and New York and everything? And even out in the Midwest, I mean, those guys get hit hard by snowstorms. So I agree. If this thing goes on until July, that they're unfortunately probably going to have to cancel the season and everything. But hopefully for our sake, that does not happen. But enough of all the coronavirus talk. If we think the season's going to start, how you guys got into the team, let's actually get to the game. So the first segment we're going to start with today is called 5 and 25. We'll be starting off today's episode with this segment, which is where I'll ask each contestant 5 questions in 25 seconds. The 25 seconds will start after I ask them the first question. The clock will start and everything. You hear the buzzer at the end and everything, indicating that their time is up. If a contestant doesn't know the answer, they can say skip. And if we have enough time, we're allowed to go back and I'll ask the question again if they think they know the answer. Each question will be worth 2 points each. Do you guys have any questions?
Nope.
Sounds simple enough.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we're going to start with you first, Ken. So are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. Like I said, once I ask you the first question, the timer will start then. So your first question is, which team did the Union acquire Brian Carroll from?
Columbus Crew.
Correct. Who is the sponsor on the Union's home kit?
Bimbo.
Correct. How many league goals did CJ Sapong score for the Union during his career?
39.
Incorrect. 36. What nationality is Clubberson?
Brazilian.
Correct. And last question. Who did the Union lose to the 2014 Open Cup final?
Seattle.
Correct. I'll give you it right at the buzzer. So you went 4 for 5, missing the CJ Sapong question. So that will give you, I'm not going to do math right away, but I will get it after this. And so, Scott, I will go to you next. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Awesome. Like I said, once I read the first question, the timer will start. And the first question is, how many goals did Kasper Schmeichel score for the Union?
14.
15, sorry. Who was the Union's first ever signing in the MLS Super Draft?
Danny Mwanga.
And what year did the Philadelphia Union make their first appearance in the MLS playoffs?
2011.
Correct. Which English powerhouse did Clubberson play for?
Brighton Albion.
Manchester United. Who was the first Union player to be sent off in the first match?
Tony Stahl.
You're right, yeah. So, that was probably my fault, guys, for reading the questions a little bit too slow and everything. But let's see.
It's a tough format, yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is a tough format. So you got
3?
Yes, you got 3. So you got 3 out of 5 right there, and then Ken, you got 4 out of 5 right there. So we will go back and do the math here in a little bit. But yeah, I asked you guys 2 questions about Clubberson right there. You guys both got a question apiece. So when I was doing this, I kept rewatching that Clubberson goal that he scored against Joe Blendick. Do you guys remember that goal, that free kick?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a wonderful goal. And myself, being a Manchester United fan, I got into soccer in 2007. And I remember just reading articles after the time and everything, how Manchester United lost out to Barcelona for Ronaldinho. And then there was reports out there that Barcelona wanted to sign Kleberson, but that Manchester United beat Barcelona to a signature. And then he just did not pan out for Manchester United. Then he bounced around to a couple other teams before he found his way to the Philadelphia Union. And unfortunately, he only ever got to play 11 games for the Union. But boy, did he give us a great impression with that free kick.
Well, he could have played more, but Hackworth wouldn't play him as much, if you remember that. But yeah, that was a whole nother kettle of fish. But John Hackworth left him on the bench a number of times.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And in those earlier years for the Union, I mean, that is definitely some dark times and everything that none of us really want to remember and everything. But unfortunately, it is a part of our history and everything. And I would say ever since 2017 upwards, the Union have looked like they've got better and better as time went on, and they're actually spending transfer fees for players. They're actually going and signing younger players in Europe and everything. Not saying they're going to pan out and everything, but they're being a lot more proactive than they were in their earlier years.
Getting a lot of value.
Round 2, which will be a true and false category, which means, and this is pretty self-explanatory, I asked the contestants true or false. This isn't timed or anything. The questions will be worth 1 point each, and I will go to Scott to start this round off. Scott, are you ready?
I guess. Yeah.
All right. First question for you. True or false? Haris Medunjanin has played in a World Cup for Bosnia.
True.
You're right. He played in the he made his debut in the last 16 minutes in a group stage game against Argentina, which Bosnia lost 1-2. Next question. True or false? The light blue in the middle of the badge of the Union is a tribute to the Sons of Ben Supporters Club.
False.
That is actually true. So the badge the color is for the Union, and then the other part of the badge is for the Philadelphia flag. Sorry. So
the Philadelphia flag is the light blue. I thought no. Okay.
Yeah. I was surprised by that when I did the research and everything, but it's good for a team to give respect to kind of the people that got the club in Philadelphia in the first place. Going to the third question, true or false? In 2012, PPL Park was the site of the MLS All-Star game in which the MLS All-Stars defeated Spanish giants Real Madrid 3-2.
That's false.
You're
they did
right.
not defeat. Yeah.
Do you know who they beat?
It was an English team. No.
No, you're right with the English team.
It could have been somebody stupid like Everton or whatever, but that's the best I could come up with.
No, I'm surprised you even knew that it was an English team. Yeah, it is. It was Chelsea. So good job with that.
Michael Farfan was our representative.
Yeah. Look at you, just throwing out the knowledge. If I would have added that question, that would have been another point.
Yeah. I get 0 points for that.
Yeah. All right. Question number 4. True or false? Joe Bendik has played for the United States men's national team only once in his career.
False.
You're right. Yeah, he's only played for the youth level. So I thought that would be a tricky one right there, but I
was just trying to remember has he ever played for the senior team, and I couldn't think of. I mean, Tim Howard and what's his bucket?
Guzan.
Pretty much, have been dominating that, and then Ramondo would have been third or fourth on that list. So Bendik really was never getting a shot, even for Gold Cup kind of things. He just fourth or fifth best guy and a tough draw. So
yep, absolutely. All right, so you got 3 out of 4 so far. And the last question, true or false? Chris Albright scored a goal against Costa Rica for the United States men's national team.
True.
That is false. He scored against Jamaica.
Oh.
So he did score the goal. It just was not against Costa Rica. So I'm glad I was able to trick you up on that.
Yeah. God.
So
all right.
That leaves you with 3 out of 5, right? So that puts you at 9 points so far.
All right,
Ken, are you ready for this? All right, true or false? Brendan Burke is the head coach of Philadelphia Union 2.
True.
That is false. He
he left, didn't he?
Yep, in 2020. The club announced that Burke had transition, into head of recruitment. So I know Brandon's been there for Brendan. Sorry, I said Brendan too. So I don't know. Maybe I should give you that point because I mispronounced his name. But no,
I know what you meant.
Yeah. Number 2, true or false? The Union have had a total of 3 head coaches in their history.
True.
You're right. Can you name them?
Novak, Hackworth. Wow, I'm blanking on the current coach, which is wild.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, Curtin. Wow.
Wow. I mean, hey, you knew the question. You got it right, but oh my goodness. I thought Jim Curtin would be the first one that you would remember, but
Peter Novak's legendary.
Oh yeah, absolutely. With man, what a character he is. And I'm sure as this game goes along with other contestants, we'll definitely be getting a lot of Peter Novak questions. So for other contestants, be prepared for that. All right. Question number 3. True or false? Ernst Tanner has joined the Union from RB Leipzig.
Oh, it was Germany. True.
It is false. He joined from RB Salzburg in Austria. So he did indeed come from the Red Bull system, but it was the Salzburg team over in Austria, where Jesse March currently coaches. All right, question number 4. True or false? CJ Sapong led the Union in goals in the 2017 season with 16 goals in the league.
False.
It is true. He had 16 goals in the league, 21 in all competition. All right, final question here for you, Ken. True or false? Sebastian Letou led the Union in goals in 2013 with 12 goals.
False.
You're right with that. So instead of the 12 goals, it was 12 assists, and he had 3 goals on the season.
Oh, rough.
So yeah, I know, right? I mean, club legend Sebastian Letou, but hey, I mean, you don't really see that too much in soccer with a striker leading your team in assists with 12 assists, because these guys are poachers and everything. They just want to be in front of the box and the net and everything, just tapping the goals and everything. And gotta love Sebo. I mean, like I said, he's a club legend. All right, so that gave you 2 out of 5, which means you are ahead by 1 point. The score is 10-9 with you leading, Scott, which leads Ken. Which leads us to the last segment, which is Name the Union Player. Now, each question is worth 3 points each. In this category, contestants will go head-to-head against each other in guessing the Union player I am describing. I'll give 5 clues, and the contestants can buzz in whenever they know the player. When I mean buzz is contestants say their name. If they get the correct answer, then they get the points. If they don't get the correct answer, that freezes them out for that player until I go on to player number 2. Do you guys have any questions? All right, let's go. Player number 1 is a midfielder. Question number 2. Wore jersey number 20 when he made his debut for the Union. Hint number 3 is a Colombian. Hint number 4. Played for the Union between 2010 and 2013.
Ken.
Go ahead, Ken.
Roger Torres.
Correct.
Yes.
The last clue for that was Roger. All right, so player number 2. Jersey number 25 for the Union. Hint number 2 is a defender. Hint number 3, scored 7 goals for the Union. Hint number 4, played college soccer for the North Carolina Tar Heels. And hint number 5, first name Shannon.
Scott.
Ken.
Scott.
Shannon Williams.
There you go. And player number 3, played college soccer at West Virginia University.
Scott.
Go ahead, Scott.
Jack Elliott.
Ooh, right off the back. So, man, that's a good one right there, because Ray Gaddis and Jack Elliott are the only 2 players that I can think of off the top of my head that played for West Virginia. So that's a big 3 points right there for you, Scott.
That was worth a shot.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, player number 4 is an Englishman. Played for Arsenal.
Scott.
Go ahead, Scott.
Simpson.
Yep, correct. All right, player number 5, the last player. Number 9 for the Union.
Scott.
Go ahead, Scott.
Letou.
Incorrect. So go ahead, Ken. You can just sit on back and let me read through all the questions and everything. And when you know it, go ahead and buzz in. Hint number 2 is a striker. Hint number 3, moved to the Union in 2016 from the New England Revolution. Hint number 4 is a soccer analyst / host for MLS and ESPN.
Ken.
Go ahead, Ken.
Charlie Davies.
Yep, there you go. So, congratulations, Scott, for beating Ken by a score of 18-16. What a tight contest that was.
Thanks. It was tough. If it weren't for a quick, shout out on Jack Elliott, I think I come in second here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was really ballsy to say your name right away, and like I said earlier, I mean, it was a choice of Ray Gaddis or Jack Elliott, and bam, you hit the nail right on the head. But Ken, I mean, you put up a great game against Scott, and seeing, like I said earlier, Scott's questions on Twitter, did you even think it would be this tight of a game?
I'll be honest. No, I was really shooting to not get shut out. So to be actually in the race was far exceeding expectations of this Sweet 16 run I've made.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, everybody should be proud of themselves just to get this far in the tournament, into the round of 16 and everything. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. But before I let you guys go, do you guys want to let everybody know where they can find you on social media? I'll start with you, Scott.
It's Z is binary with underscores in between Z and is in binary.
Yep, and what about you, Ken?
It's Ken _Mack 35. A lot of creativity in my Twitter that I made like 9 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, some of those Twitter handles you see on there, I mean, they're very, very unique and everything. Like, I applaud those guys, and there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, my personal Twitter account, I don't think it's anything fancy. I think it's kind of dumb in my opinion. It's a Todd's life, but I can't think of anything else. But yeah, if you guys aren't following the podcast on social media, you can find it on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Free Kick Pod, and wherever you get your podcast, just search The Free Kick, and it'll pop up and everything. But thank you both for being on, and like I said earlier, Scott, once I get through the rest of the round of 16 games, we'll do a redrawing, and we'll see who you go on to face in the next round.
Cool. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. And with that said, my name is Todd, and this is the Free Kick Podcast.